Hello everyone, welcome back to Types Gaming. We're going to pull a bunch of shards on this one. I'm on my Type 2 account. Pretty much just 24 ancients and 1 sacred. Not going to waste too much time dilly-dallying. We're just going to jump right into it. First group of 10. Still waiting on some legendary, haven't gotten any yet tonight. And still nothing. What do we got? Elhain is one of your starting champions. She's good. She might be, well, she's new to me. Attacks one enemy 2 times each hit, has a 15% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed. Okay. Alright, attacks all enemies, 5% speed boost for each alive enemy. Places a counterattack buff and a 25% increased attack buff on this champion. Kind of selfish. Frozen Banshee, she's okay. Hyra is okay. Second group, okay. Quargan the Crowned. Kale. Attacks one enemy. When you ascend him, he has a chance to extend the duration of a random buff on a random ally by 1 turn. Interesting. Heals all allies by 15% of their max hit points and places a shield buff equal to 15% of their max hit points on all allies for 2 turns. Alright, so he drops a shield. And a perfect veil. That's cool. Places a perfect veil buff and a 50% increased attack buff for 2 turns on all allies whose attack is higher than their defense. Places a block debuffs buff for 1 turn and a 60% increased defense buff for 2 turns on all allies whose defense is higher than their attack. Very interesting. Interesting. He's definitely going to help this account's Lizardman faction, that's for sure. Cool beans. He's one of your event guys, Achak. Very cool kit. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of decreasing the duration of 1 random buff in the target. If the target is under a hit point burn, also has a 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15% if they are under a freeze debuff. That's on his A1. Okay, A2 places a block debuff buff on all allies for 1 turn and a 25% strengthen buff. Can be booked down to 4 turns. Okay. Attacks all enemy, has a 70% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn on enemies whose attack is higher than their defense, which is normally the case if I'm not mistaken. Has a 70% chance of placing a hit point burn debuff for 1 turn on enemies whose defense is equal to or higher than their attack. Okay. Heals all allies by 5% of their max HP every time an enemy under a hit point burn debuff gets a turn. So it's good healing. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 10% every time an enemy under a freeze debuff gets a turn. That's an interesting passive. I wonder if it works on other people's hit point burns and freezes. Ally defense and all battles by 25%. So, not too bad. Another Frozen Banshee, another Kale. Food, 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 food. Alright, so I think Achik, or whatever his name is, I call him Achu. He's an upgrade for this account. Food. Candle Guard, she was for one of the other fusions, but I pretty much just eat her now. Rocktooth, I believe, is for fusion. Runic Warrior, he's good for dwarfs. He'll help your dwarf faction team. Places a 15% reflect damage buff and a 7.5% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Can be booked down to 3, so that's really not that bad. This is probably his money ability here. But okay, now for the sacred. So come on, something good. Give me a good legendary, please. Good legendary. Farrakhan the Fat. Haha. Attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense. Debuff for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing hit point burn debuff for, and 2 5% poison debuffs for 2 turns. Wow, I didn't catch that earlier. Places a 30% increased crit rate buff and a 30% crit damage buff on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all allies except this champion will attack one target enemy. That's an interesting ally attack. Deflects 20% of all incoming damage this champion receives onto all allies. The damage will be spread equally across all allies. Interesting. And he's a barbarian. Very interesting. Definitely going to have to try him. But no gold again. So 4 accounts, about 80 shards, a little bit more. No gold. It is what it is. And not quite enough to get any more tonight. So guess that's where we're going to call it. Y'all have a good night. Happy hunting. If you pulled any shards and got any legendaries, I'd love to hear what you got. If anyone's working on him, hey, oh cool. So she is new. Alright. And this guy's new. Oh, no kidding, I thought he was food. But very cool. And I think personally, if I pull just 4, I believe this is the champion out of those I'm going to go with. Yeah, I like her kit a lot. Won't lie, I don't think I looked at any of the other ones. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please leave a like. On this account, actually, in 2 days I get Cleopatrix, so I'm going to do a video on her because I don't have a Kraken account. I don't have, a good mastery town hall. So it'd be more of a, what everyone else would have to deal with for the most part. I still consider myself a new player. I still consider myself a beginner. I do things, quote unquote, the hard way. I do listen to other people's, other content creators. I get the ability to listen to stuff while I'm working. So everyone gets to jump on me on videos, but that's okay. I do things a little different. It works for me. You know, when you don't have great champions and you don't have great gear, you got to figure out other ways to get stuff done. So I think I've done pretty good so far. But anyway, you all have a good night. Happy hunting. If you pulled any shards, I hope you got some legendary.